What's up, folks? We'll wait for some folks to come on board before we get started. And we're gonna touch on this subject. What's up, folks? What's up, everyone? Shout out to the Netherlands. Let everyone get up in here. It's going fine. I actually took off work today, man. I had some freaking issues I had to take care of. Won't go into detail on here, but to get to the job. So we'll let folks come up in here. Shout out to Toronto. Happy holidays to you guys too. I don't know, whatever you can afford for XLM. I mean, I think I've touched on it before. I recommended unofficially, of course, that people hold, I don't know, like a minimum of 10K regarding tokens associated with ISO compliant networks, right? So there's that. And I'm doing more lives now than I typically would on YouTube because I'm seeing a lot of panic out here, and we're going to talk about it. A lot of panic. I did a space on Twitter earlier today about this, and it seems people are spooked because there's a retracement going on. I think XRP reached as high as about, I don't know, 160, something like that. XLM got to about 60 cents. XDC got to about 6 or 7 cents. Now XRP is like at $1.40. I think XLM is at like 50 cents, maybe 49. XDC is probably at like in the 5-cent range, low to mid 5-cent range. So people are starting to ask those questions about profit taking. Now, I don't typically tell anyone what to do regarding profit. If you want to sell, and that's advantageous for your current position in life, hey man, that's all on you. You know, if you're holding 70K XRP, you're in a good position. Come on, man. Yeah. If you want to flex the bag muscles a little bit, that's okay. But you know you're beyond good. I'm pretty sure you looked at your portfolio and said, "Oh wow." So you're fine holding that amount. If you hold anything over 10,000 of those type of assets, you're probably going to be just fine. So yeah. So people want to take profit before a big retrace happens. I get it, I guess, right? But like I said on my Twitter space today, you have to ask yourselves, what's your strategy here? What's your goal? Do you want to get wealthy, or do you want to put tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket? Okay. I mean, that's totally up to you. I can't answer those questions for you. Your strategy should be based off of what you want to do for yourself in the short or long term. For me, I didn't hypothetically jump into this market for tens of thousands of dollars, right? So, I mean, you could do with that what you want to do with it. But if you did, hey man, by all means, you got, a decent bag of XRP and you want to shave some off while it's at $1.40, hey man, be my guest. Me, If anything that I hold hypothetically has institutional interest, I'm not getting rid of anything until I see what the regulations and law look like regarding what the institutions can do with the assets and what they can do regarding capital inflows into those protocols and assets, right? Like I said, I can't speak for anyone else, but and I'm not going to tell you you shouldn't sell. Like, a part of me wants to say you may want to hold on, but you know what, man? People are going to do what they want to do. And I touched on this earlier today as well. You know, we had a scenario. Please do not name the person in the live chat. All right. But I'm using this as an example to show you why it's important to do your own research and to follow your own instincts and convictions regarding investing. There were a few people, it wasn't just one individual, who went out here in the crypto community and told people that they needed to sell their XLM and that they had sold all of their XLM and that it didn't have any utility. And I remember around this time, XLM was probably only at like 7 or 8 cents. I think it jumped to 9 and then it traded sideways at 9 cents for like maybe over a year plus and didn't really do much. XLM just hit 60 cents the other day. So imagine if you had 20 or 30,000 XLM, how many thousands of dollars you'd be up right now when it hit 60 cents and then even dropped to 50 cents. And you did the bulk of your purchases in between 6 to 9 cents and maybe had an average of like 8 cents. Hey man, you know, when it went up to 12 cents, you could have took some short-term profit and just been done with it. But then what happens when it hits 60 cents? That's a small example, right? Small example. So yeah, that's look, man, you have to follow your own conviction at the end of the day, and you have to do what's best for you and yours. For me, I'm a long-term type of guy, right? So if I get a hold of something that I think is worthwhile in the future, I'm not going to let it go. Okay. I'm going to hold on to it for dear life until the things happen regarding the legalities and regulations associated with the space happen. Okay. And that's anything, right? I could tell you what my strategy is, but that doesn't really matter. All right. My strategy is going to be different from yours because I've been getting asked from people, should I sell? I don't know. Do you see this thing rebounding? I think it's the end of the road, all of this stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm a long-term guy. I'm the wrong guy to ask those type of questions to, because I'll sit on my damn hands for the next 10 years and be like, man, I'm still young, man. I mean, I'm only 40 years old, man. I mean, even if theoretically it took 10 years from now, not from when I hypothetically invested, but from now, for me to see those gains, I'm only 50 years old, man. People in my family live a long time. I'm just saying, like, and I mean, I'd still, even if I retired fully at 50, it would still make me the youngest member of my family to retire at that age and never have to work again. So I don't too much care, right? Now, there are some who are already 50, 60, 70, who are getting into this asset class recently, and they want quicker returns. For those folks, it may behoove you to take short-term profits if you have a life-changing amount of money, right? For me, I'm not saying I do or don't have a life-changing amount of money, because I don't brag, boast, or put my bag size out there. But for me, life-changing ain't a few $100,000, right? It doesn't mean it wouldn't change certain things, obviously, but I mean, I'm hypothetically going for full out generational wealth. All right. That's not accomplished by a few $100,000. I'd wake up and look at my decent that I hypothetically own and see a few $100,000. I'm going to say, oh, okay, that's cute. And I'm going to roll over and continue rewatching repeats of Snowfall on my Fire Stick, right? That's not really gonna, because I for entertainment purposes may have touched that kind of money before. Now, I'm not saying definitively, but it's gonna take a lot more than tens of thousands or a few $100,000 to phase me, if that makes sense, right? So that's just me, right? I have something set in my mind that's been set in my mind for a long time. So it's going to take a lot to excite me and to get me to the point where I feel like, all right, I mean, because think about it, right? Let's say I did theoretically open my portfolio up and looked, and there was $750,000. Okay, sure. I could pay my house off. Sure. I could, pay whatever, minuscule retail debt that I have off. Sure. I could make a few moves, have some fun, reinvest a little bit of it and stash it, but that's not establishing generational wealth, in my opinion. Now, 20 million and beyond, I can, kind of do some things with, right? Because maybe I have people that I want to help. Maybe I have people that I want to set up, right? I'm not going to do that with $700,000, but north of 20 million, you damn right I'm going to do it, right? So establishing things for those who you love and care about, who deserve it, and then also having enough to establish generational wealth, trusts, annuities, etc. You name it. That would be my goal theoretically regarding digital assets. Now we're going to talk about something else, and unfortunately the 30 to 40 something people that just jumped out of here are going to miss out on this, but oh well. Who's here matters. So market cap and coins in circulation. This is another conversation that I had earlier today, because that rebuttal has resurfaced, right? Now everyone's talking about what it can and can't get to because of the recent price action, and the rebuttals regarding it would basically, if it reached a market cap of Bitcoin, it would only go so high. And these are theories, like this is nothing new. These are things that have been touched on plenty of times before, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to reiterate this because it needs to be heard and it needs to be said. Market cap and coins in circulation are not etched in stone somewhere, okay? These things are subject to change. I don't know why people don't use common sense and basic addition or arithmetic or mathematics, whatever you want to call it, to understand this. All right. Now, what do you mean by that, T? What do you mean it changes? Let me give you a scenario. Okay. And I want everyone to put their common sense hats on for this. Let's say, theoretically, you needed a $5 trillion market cap. Let's say Bitcoin's at $5 trillion. Let's say XRP, due to its coins in circulation, hits the same market cap of 5 trillion, yet because there's so many tokens on the open market, that only brings it to $10 versus Bitcoin was upped to almost $100,000 with only 100 million coins in circulation, right? So the skeptics will use that logic point and they'll tell you, well, there you have it. XRP has essentially seen its limit because the coins, and I don't think a lot of them understand how the coins in circulation work here. So they'll immediately point to the market cap and say, if XRP's market cap hit Bitcoin's market cap and it was a multi-trillion-dollar asset, it's really not going to get you wealthy unless you hold a crap ton of it. They're wrong. They're right and they're wrong. And I'm going to explain why they're right and why they're wrong. They're right per the current environment where you have over 50 billion on the secondary market. What they're not taking into consideration here is that those numbers can easily change when you start seeing demand, not just for the asset regarding its use case, okay? When you see a store of value proposition attached to the asset. Now, what does that mean, T? And why is that important here regarding a conversation around market cap and coins in circulation. I'm going to tell you why it's important, and I want you to listen very carefully. And I'm probably going to repeat it because people aren't going to get it the first time around, even though it's fairly simple. I think it's a concept that escapes people. If you have investment vehicles, financial products, and incentives and requirements to interact with decentralized application style solutions that put you as a customer in an environment where you now either want to hold the token because it's advantageous for you to do so, or you have to hold the token in order to essentially interoperate with certain solutions, what happens to the supply on the secondary market? I'll tell you what probably is going to happen. It dwindles down significantly. Now, well, what does that mean regarding the market cap? Well, if we're using our common sense hats, that tells me if you reduce the circulating supply significantly and there's a demand coupled with it, and the asset is held by entities with large amounts of capital long term, I don't know, maybe the 8 to 10 or so odd XRP, ETF, and ETP applications that are floating out there right now, especially now that Gensler has announced his resignation. Do you think you need the same market cap as Bitcoin for it to reach a significant number outside of $10? If, let's say, that circulating supply number goes from, I don't know, maybe 50 billion or so to maybe 800 million. 800 million, still plenty for retail to go out to an exchange and buy it. It's not dwindling the entire circulating supply, but theoretically, with ETPs, ETFs, mutual funds, index funds, including digital assets like XRP, XLM, and others, etc. DeFi platforms, after it's regulated, and correspondent institutions who Gary Gensler told you want in on this and would want in on something like what Ripple is offering, in that they would need to essentially be enticed with 50% of ownership to the tune of a native asset of a blockchain in order for them to allow something like that to succeed. What do you think happens? What in the hell? You know what? I got a homework assignment for you guys. I want someone right now to tell me if you had a circulating supply of 500 million XRP and the asset had a market cap of $5 trillion, what would that asset be at? I want someone to do the math right now. And I'm going to wait, and I'm not going to say anything until someone busts out their calculator and does it. And then comments in here. I want to know, I'm going to ask it again. I want you to tell me if the demand for the asset and others, because this won't be the only asset to succeed, push that circulating supply to 500 million tokens in circulation, which is considerably more than what Bitcoin has. Someone said 1,000 plus. Someone said 10K. I'm waiting. I want a definitive answer. All right. I don't have time to do the math right now, but from what I'm seeing, I haven't really seen anything under $1,000 per everyone's calculations. This is what I'm going to say about the market cap and coins in circulation rebuttals. To me, right, I'm not trying to tell people how to be intelligent or how to have a good debate. But instead of saying something won't get somewhere because if it hit the same market cap as something else, it would only rise it to this price, what you really need to be saying to people is that, in my humble opinion, I don't think we ever reach an environment where the coins in circulation on the secondary market regarding XRP dwindle down to a few hundred million. That's a lot more intelligent sounding than coming out and saying, wow, if they hit the market cap of Bitcoin, then it's only going to go, this far. And like I said, I've been debating this point for years. Okay. So just say to people that you don't see a dwindling in the supply because you don't see a demand for the asset. That sounds better. Now we can have a different conversation about why there's likely going to be demand for the asset and switch it off of the coins in circulation and market cap. Because if there is a supply and demand proposition thrown out there and the demand outweighs the supply at that point, nothing that you're saying matters anymore. And I want you guys to really realize that. What you want to see here regarding supply and demand dynamics with this particular asset, because of how many are circulating, is you want use cases and store value propositions associated with it so that entities with large amounts of capital swoop in and grab a good portion of it to where it puts a huge dent in the circulating supply. Now you get a market cap of just a few trillion, maybe even under a double-digit trillion marker, and you've got one hell of an XRP price. But no one's thinking that. I'm going to say it again. Institutional capital, entities with large amount of capital, dwindling down the circulating supply at the same time there's a demand, means that you don't need as high of a market cap to see a very high appreciation in the price of the asset. The question is, to everyone who's invested in it, is do you believe not only in the company, but in the technology, the protocol, and do you think entities with large amounts of capital believe in it enough to place their money in it? Screw the buyback talk, screw the ESDR talk, screw all of the cockamamie theories and stuff that's been thrown out there. It comes down to supply and demand, all right? And then here we go. Another few good use cases mentioned. Tokenization, derivatives, layer 2s, cross-border. I'm just saying. The addressable markets that I think several of these assets are going to attack and ultimately gain share in, I think tell me everything that I need to know. I think Gary Gensler mentioning Ripple, their currency, and what it can do, and then saying right after that the banks want in on this and they're going to want to participate, and maybe if you're a company offering something like this, you need to give up 50% of your supply so that they don't sabotage you from receiving that market share, tells me everything I need to know about whether or not there's going to be a future demand for the token, the asset, the protocol, the ledger, the decentralized exchange, the automated market makers, global public liquidity pools, tokenization, derivatives, cross-border payments, cross-chain communicative abilities across other networks and protocols, essentially interoperating with messaging, the goddamn payments that are done in the asset, that data being incorporated into the payment messages that are being forwarded between all of these different institutions. If you don't see it by now, you, in my humble opinion, are going to be in trouble in the future. And it's not going to be anyone's fault but your own. I'm not telling you not to sell. I'm not telling you to not implement your own strategy and sell and buy back in. I'm not telling you to not sell. All I'm telling you is that you better have a strategy at play and you better understand what you're looking at. You don't know what XDC's use case is? Really? You don't know about its global trade and finance capabilities, its smart contract application setup, its ability to essentially bridge the legacy system into a blockchain environment? And it can be used for payments as well. Keep that in mind. People forget that. As a matter of fact, I think there was an experiment done where they tested it in Panama for payments. Just saying. Yeah, like why would you have 150K of it and then ask what's its use case? Why in the world did you buy it? I already said what it was briefly. You want to know more info about XDC outside of its smart contract application abilities? It's it being interlinked to DASL, which is a bridge regarding the ERC20 network. It's cross-chain interop. It's use regarding private and public environments and bridging them together essentially by being a hybrid enterprise-grade asset. Go look it up, man. Go Google XDC, and you'll be able to go on their website and see all of that. So that's what I'm saying, right? And we've got, and I'm not going to mention anybody by name on here, but there was a conversation or a thread on my Twitter, and one of the guys that made the comment about whether or not people should sell, and kind of alluded to, I kind of think that a long-term strategy is the best strategy, and there's other ways to be successful. That individual is absolutely right. But here's what that individual, and please don't mention the names in the comments, this is what that individual is not realizing. The majority of the people who are asking whether or not they should sell are not asking whether or not they should sell because they want to take a few profits off of the top. Those type of people don't have a strategy. They just see money and they want to grab it immediately. This individual likely has years worth of strategy built out for short-term and long-term because he's a trader. So he knows exactly what he's going to do with that profit. And I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar a decent portion of it will be reinvested. The folks who are out here panicking just want to immediately convert over to fiat, cash out, and be done with it. Look, if you're going to do that, and you do it prematurely, it's going to be worse now than what it was when Bitcoin popped. And the reason why it's going to be worse is because you have more people who are aware of what this stuff is capable of in the long term, telling you what it's capable of. So you've heard it time and time and time and time again. All of you are probably following over 100 content creators. You're oversaturating yourself with crypto knowledge and news constantly, and you're probably doing your own research as well. So if you make a foolish mistake now in this environment, in this ecosystem, before there's full regulatory clarity and implementation globally, before there's mandates passed down to smaller institutions, banks, VCs, etc., on what they can hold regarding digital assets, before there's comprehensive legislation passed that opens up the floodgates to God knows what regarding utility assets and entities with large amounts of capital, and you see a significant rise up after you got impatient and you sold out of panic without having a strategy, you are going to be looking for the highest building in your city or bridge, and you are going to want to do quadruple somersaults off of it and land hand first. I am telling you right now, don't be that guy or gal. All right. I'm not telling you not to sell. I'm not telling you to hold. I am telling you that you better think this crap through before you make any moves prior to this new administration coming in. Not official. Look, hey, this is not official financial advice. I am not an official financial advisor. This is simply my perspective. You can choose to pair my perspective with yours only after you've done your due diligence and research and have a clear understanding of the crypto market. Make sure that you've done your due diligence and research first prior to making any purchases, and understand the risks associated with jumping into the crypto market. But now that we have that disclaimer out of the way, you better have your common sense hat on, because if you don't and you make a mistake, like I said, prior to the incoming administration, you will hate yourself for life. That's all. Let's take a look at these comments. Yeah, I'll keep the live up. So yeah, we're not going to make this a long one. That's all I wanted to convey. I'm going to repeat it again. Coins in circulation and market cap are relevant until they're not. They're gatekeepers until they're not. A reduction in the circulating supply means that suddenly market cap is no longer a hindrance, because the market cap can rise exponentially after the coins in circulation are reduced significantly due to favorable supply and demand dynamics for the asset. Once that happens and you see a reduction in circulating supply that is significant, not only will that likely lead to a higher market cap, it means you don't necessarily need a super duper asinine market cap in order for the asset to appreciate significantly in price. You better hold on to that gem and remember it. That's probably the most important thing I'm going to say here now, especially with all the ETP and ETF applications coming out of nowhere, and there's more coming. Said the crypto hoax said XDC to $80,000. I'm all in now, bro. XDC to $80,000. I'm just gonna give you guys the capybara side eye. Capybara. That's all I'm gonna say. The bombastic side eye. Okay. Well, hey, you know what? If Crypto Hulk believes that XDC goes to $80,000, God bless him, and I hope he's right. Okay. All right, $80,000 it is, I guess. But yeah, enough of that. Hey, look, man, make sure you have a strategy in play before you jump into any of this crap. All right, make sure that you know within yourself whether or not you're a long-term guy, a short-term guy, or both. And make sure if you're going to do either or, you have your target set, you have your risk tolerance predetermined, and if you're going to do super short swings and trades and create taxable events here and there, make sure that you understand what you're doing first. All right. With that being said, there's no need for me to blab on and on and on and on. I think we're at 31 minutes, and I think I've said enough. You guys know what's coming. You know there's a crypto-friendly administration across the board coming in, and you know there's likely going to be some success to be had in this market. You don't need me on here saying much more of anything. Stop the panic, all right? And the reason why I'm doing this video is because of the amount of DMs that I've gotten from people who are panicking, all right? If you're panicking, man, look, if you don't have your emotions in check now, God help you if you do get lucky enough to stay in, you don't do anything foolish prematurely and the wealth hits you and you still haven't mastered control over your emotions. Do it now, okay? Like I said, this isn't in direct relation to whether or not you buy or sell, hold, or get rid of. It's about your motivations behind your actions. Are emotions controlling and dictating your decision-making process? If they are, stop that. And that's all I got to say, all right? With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. And this was just a short reminder and a short pep talk to you guys to get you ready, man, essentially for what's coming and to expect the unexpected, and things that you probably thought were impossible will likely not be impossible in the future. There are going to be, I'm going to tell you right now, in my humble opinion, due to the coins in circulation and market cap arguments that have been recycled through this space forever, when you see utility tokens with high supplies skyrocket in price to levels that don't make sense, you're going to have news channels reaching out to people like me who called it and who explained how it would happen regardless of the coins in circulation and market cap and how it was subject to change. Now, I'm not going on anyone's news channel to talk about it, but you're going to have folks on Kramer's show, the whole night, like, how did this happen? I mean, usually you would have to, and all you got to do is just look at the numbers when that time comes. And I guarantee you most of these mainstream media platforms will gloss right over the coins in circulation, and they'll just look at the market cap and they'll look at the asset and they'll compare it to Bitcoin's market cap and look at the asset. When all you have to do is look at the amount of the demand that dwindled the circulating supply in the first place, and you have your answer right there. You don't need to act shocked. Just say, I'm shocked there was that much demand for it. But that won't happen. Not immediately, it won't. People have to catch up mentally. And that's the society that we live in. Always remember, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And it's especially true in this space because it's relatively new And from a technological perspective, esoteric, financier, geopolitical, a lot of people aren't able to connect all of those dots and fully understand what they're looking at. So you're going to have a lot of people who are going to look like geniuses who really aren't. And you're going to have a lot of us who are low key, who really did call it to the T and to the letter, who were able to rebuttal all of the skeptic points successfully, who just fade away, man. And that's what I plan to do. I plan to fade away, man. I feel like it's getting close. So these are kind of like my goodbye videos, or the precursor to my goodbye video. If you want to stay in touch, man, you know, Twitter, and some of you are on my Facebook, on my T's Crypto Spot Facebook. Some of you are on my Twitter. Some of you, a select few of you are on my IG. Drop the info now, because when that moment comes, this channel will be deleted. It won't exist anymore. I'm getting rid of the channel. All right. I don't even want that level of attention for calling anything. I'm done, man. I'm done. I don't, like I said, I'm not a fame type of person. So with that being said, like I said, this isn't going to be long, because at this point now, I'm getting into rambling, and I don't want to do that. What I'm saying is not really constructive anymore. So I dropped the information that I think you guys needed. Stay tuned. Keep your eye on the market, and make sure that you have your strategies ready to implement and ready to go. And on that note, I bid you guys a farewell, and I'll talk to you guys shortly if there's anything worth talking about or worth mentioning. Signing out.